welcome to Trading Shame, the podcast where I share my stories of survival, resilience and hope. I am Iwan Ross, and today I want to share a part of my own journey through childhood trauma. This episode contains discussions of sexual, verbal and physical abuse, so please take care while listening. It's the perfect day to record a podcast outside. The rain is coming down in sheets, the wind is howling, and I'm sitting here in my quaint little living room with a fireplace crackling here beside me. So grab yourself a cup of coffee or a glass of wine or whatever it is you enjoy and join me on this unbelievable journey. At the moment, I'm just keeping my eyes closed and I'm speaking to you as if I'm speaking to my wife. I had a script planned, or I had a script typed out, but I crumpled it up and I tossed it into the fireplace. So I decided I'm just going to speak from my heart. This morning, I found myself dragging my feet out of bed. And lately, I've taken a different route in my life. I decided to get out of my comfort zone and to talk about the things that has happened to me. It's not easy, but I do one small thing a day. I either record a YouTube video or a TikTok video where I talk about something minor, or as you can hear or listen, I'm currently doing a podcast. So it was a brave step that I took, but I believe it is very, very important for people to come out of their comfort zones. And here I am speaking to you from my heart. Thanks for listening, and let's get started. As I said previously, my name is Iwan Ross, and I am a writer, or a full-time writer or author. I've published 7 books. And relax, please. I'm not here to sell any books to you. I'm here to talk to you about matters of the heart and things that have happened to me that's changed the course of my life. So let's get started. I was born and not raised, but I was born in Johannesburg, in an area of Johannesburg called Hillbrow. Many people, or everyone who lives in South Africa, would know that Hillbrow is a very notorious neighborhood, or hood as others would call it. And now picture this. My mother's a social worker, and we live on the 7th story of an apartment building. And I have no memories from those days, but all I know is that there was something missing in my life back then. And what I now know what was missing is that I did not have a dad. And it's fine. I'm not feeling sorry for myself, and I'm not trying to play a victim. I'm just trying to share my stories with the world, or with anyone who would listen. So, yes, from our first memories I had was when after we moved from Johannesburg, we moved to Durban. And this is the first memory I've had about not having a father. It was a stormy evening. Thunderclouds were rumbling outside. It was raining down like a torrential downpour, and I was watching some TV program. I can't remember exactly what it was. And then this little boy was talking to his father. If I can remember correctly, his father, he was called Buck in the story. And then it hit me. Where's my dad? So I ran up the staircase and headed to my mother's bedroom. And this is where things got a bit tricky. I wasn't just allowed to enter her bedroom. I had to knock first. So by this time, normally after dinner, she'll grab her husband a bottle of red wine and a glass, and then she'll head to her bedroom and indulge in a book. Or that's what I think she was doing. I'm not sure what she was doing, but in any case. So there I was knocking and waiting and biding my time, and then she'll answer with a significant, "Come in." So in I go. She had a very strange habit. So let me just tell you that it's weird. To anyone who listens, it is a bit strange. So there she was, in the dark bedroom, curtains open, gazing out of the expansive windows at the lightning-streaked skies, in just her panties. That was the way she did things. She lived in her panties in her bedroom. And me, being a small boy, sauntered into the bedroom. My gaze locked on my toes because I was too shy to look in her just in her panty. So I asked her, "Mom, where's my dad?" And she had this sinister laugh. She went like, "Ha, ha, ha, ha," like a mocking, taunting laugh. And she said, "He drowned in the ocean." And then I knew her better than most people did. So what's the word for it? Sorry. So I decided not to challenge her. And I just said, "Thank you." And I reversed out of the room, walked backwards, and I closed the door behind me. And then I decided to go back to my TV program. And that's the first thing she told me about where my dad was. And of course, my curiosity was piqued. I had to find out who my dad was, and what happened to him. So I started asking questions, but I always got so many different answers. What she later told us was that my dad had an affair with some Jewish doctor and that she kicked him out of the house, which is strange because in those years, South Africa was under the apartheid regime. I'm not sure I know of any female doctors who worked in the city of Johannesburg during that time. It was prominently white male Afrikaans doctors, and I can't think that they would have allowed a Jewish female doctor to work in South Africa, but that was her story. And then on another occasion, people told me that he just disappeared. He got sick of her pleading and begging and I don't know what else. And so he just decided to pack his things and go. What I do know is that I have a theory. He was a pilot and he was an IT guy. He worked in IT for Mobile, specifically for the company called Mobile. I found out later in my life. And he just he found a way to get out of the country. And then later again, when I was in high school, the school psychologist decided to visit our home because he knew something was not right. And he had a discussion with my mother. And he wanted to know more about my life and my brother's life and what was going on. And there I was sitting in the living room, all cleaned up and tidy and very shy. And then my mother asked me to please leave the living room because she wanted to speak to the psychologist alone. So I crept out and I went to my little hiding spot that I had where I could overhear or where I could listen in on their conversation. And that is when she told him, or when I heard her telling him that she was the one who had the affair all the time. So he just packed up his bags and he left. So until this day, I'm 53 years old. I don't know what the truth is. I found friends of his who told me that they don't know what happened to him. It's all very hush-hush, very secretive. I've got no idea. I wish I can find him. I wish I knew where he was. And by the way, his name was or is Gilbert Ross. So if anyone knows anything about him, please let me know. Or please let him know that his son is waiting for him with his arms open. I'm not angry. I'm a bit disappointed. Maybe I'm in denial. It's possible that I never went over into the anger stage. I don't know. I'm not sure why I'm not angry. I'm not angry with him because I feel whatever he did, he had a reason to do. He left 2 boys behind. He left a wife behind and he disappeared. That's my theory. And I'm going to stick with it because the other stories are all nonsense. And I wish I knew what the truth is. So let's go back to Durban. And sorry for veering off course there for a while. I just wanted you to understand that like so many other kids there, I grew up with a father and it made matters challenging. It made life quite challenging. And then, yeah, we go back to Johannesburg. So when I was 2 years old, my mother decided to leave behind the city of Johannesburg as a social worker. Her version of the story was that she got a job offer in Durban and that we were going to move to Durban. So she dropped us in a small town called Klokkelaan. It's in the Free State. It's a very, very small town. And that is where my grandma used to live. And she dropped us there and left us there for 6 months while she went home hunting or job hunting. And yes, apparently, according to my brother, who doesn't talk about things happened to us in the time we lived or we stayed with my grandma in Klokkelaan. I tried to confront my uncle who knew us back then and my aunt about what happened to us in that time, but no one wants to talk about it. So I really don't know what happened. I know that that is apparently where my severe anxiety issue started. And yes, I don't know. I wish I had the answers to whatever happened to us in that little town, but my mother just dumped us there and she went on her merry way. And 6 months later, she came back and she collected us and she took us to Durban, where we lived in our first house in a suburb called Malvern. And this is where I'm just going to take a short break and then I'll catch up with you in a few seconds. Thank you. Welcome back. And thanks for bearing with me across this tumultuous ocean of raw emotions. That actually rhymed. But in any case, let's go back to Klokkelaan. So there were we, my brother and I, he's older than me, packing our meager belongings into my mother's Volkswagen Beetle, a red one. For some strange reason, she always liked red. She always drove a red car. She liked red wine. Everything she likes is red. In any case, so we pack our meager belongings into the Volkswagen Beetle and off we go, heading to Durban. And then about 4 to 5 hours later, we arrive in a suburb called Malvern. Now, the strange thing here, something that only struck me much later in my life, was the house. We moved from a 2-story apartment in an apartment building in Hillbrow to a 4-bedroom house in Malvern, a fully furnished house. I still don't understand how my mother managed to do that on a social worker's salary, but in any case, we had a big house with the attic where interesting stories happened. But in any case, let's stick to the basics. So my brother and I both had our own bedrooms, which was quite something to get used to, moving from a small apartment into a big house. And my mother had her own bedroom, and then there was this small bedroom, another small spare bedroom. And so yeah, things get interesting. I had a little spud gun. And for those of you who don't know what a spud gun is, it's a potato gun. So you wedge the point of the gun into a potato, and then you pry the piece of potato out, and then you shoot the piece of potato at glass or people or whatever. It's completely harmless, but it's a really fun toy to have. And then one holiday, this is where one of the first strangest things happened to me. One holiday, my female cousin, I'm not going to mention any names, my female cousin arrives in Durban. Obviously, my mother wants to show off our beautiful new home and, smell the scent of the ocean, the salty breeze in your hair, all that funky stuff. In any case, so my cousin arrives. And now one day my little spud gun disappears. And I don't know where my spud gun is. So I ask my cousin if she knows where my spud gun is, and she tells me, yes, she knows where my spud gun is. It's in her hiding place in the attic, underneath the house, the dark attic. So she lures me downstairs, and I'm just eager to get my spud gun back. And this is where the strangest thing happened, a pivotal moment in my life. So I'm eager to get my spud gun back, and I don't know, the attic was very dark, but for some reason I could make out the contours of her naked body. Yes, she took off all her clothes. So she goes and she lies flat on her back, and she tells me to take off all my clothes. And just for the listeners out there, I was 5 years old at this point in my life. So I take off all my clothes, and then she tells me to lie on top of her. And I do as she asks, because I want my spud gun back. And then I do things. I don't know why I do them, but I just do them because she tells me I have to do them. And then, yes, I did them because I wanted my spud gun. And then after she was happy, I stood up, she gave me my spud gun, and I left. Little did I know what effect that would have on my life for the rest of my life. But in any case, it's a pivotal moment. Shame kicks in. You feel embarrassed. Your self-esteem hits rock bottom, and you don't know why things like that happen to you, but it did. In any case, it's something I've never spoken about to anyone except my wife. She knows the story, and I've shared it with her because I feel that she must know. So yes, there I've got my spud gun back. And then another thing that I can remember that happened here was all of a sudden our home had an organ. An organ is like a piano, but it's just an electrical version of a piano. Well, please, music lovers, I don't know how to explain what an organ is. You will know. But in any case, so I also had little rabbits, small, wee little rabbits in the back of the garden, white, fluffy rabbits. And when my brother didn't get what he wanted, he would grab one of my rabbits by its ears, and will shove them in behind the organ, turn the volume of the organ up top notch, and then hit the high bass keys or the low bass keys until my rabbit died. And that's how my brother would get out of me whatever he wanted to get out of me. So he had a thing for tea, and he would always come to me and say, mate, I must make him a cup of tea, and if I refused, he'll kill one of my rabbits. And that is exactly how he got out of me what he wanted. And by the way, the organ wasn't just there for decorative purposes. I could actually play quite a few songs on it. Amazing Grace was the first song I learned to play on the organ. And also quite a few ABBA tunes, and also a few Boney M tunes. I loved playing the organ. My brother knew that I had a knack for it, and he used it to kill my rabbits so that he can get out of me whatever it was he wanted out of me. And in any case, so back to the event that happened between my cousin and I. I'm not going to mention her name. I have a few female cousins. She knows who she is, but I have forgiven her. It is something that's etched into my memory. I cannot exactly say how it makes me feel. It's difficult. I feel ashamed. I know it's not me who has initiated it. I feel embarrassed. I feel I have low self-esteem because of that. It's something that keeps you prisoner for the rest of your life. How can I explain this? It's something that stays with you. It's always there. You feel ashamed. It's as if you initiated it. It's as if you committed the crime, but it wasn't me. It was just me wanting my spud gun back. So it's sad that things like that happens, but it does happen. I know it happens in many other families. I've seen it. I've heard of it happen. People have shared similar details with me, and it's sad. It's as if an event like that changed your feet and you're not making the progress you want to make. And it also makes you feel like a coward because you keep it inside. You keep it inside of you forever. You don't tell anyone about it. You don't speak to anyone about it. And you are the victim, or you're the one who is affected by something like that. And eventually, I'm glad that I spoke to people about it. And it's something that has affected me since I was a young little boy. But that wasn't the first time something like that has happened. Unfortunately, it's happened many, many, many times since then. I remember another case where something like that happened. My mother enjoyed going out at night. She was quite a party animal. And then we had a female babysitter. And eventually I was in my I wasn't in my teens. I was young and I just started attending school, and I had waterpox. And then I was itchy one night, and the babysitter told me to come to the bedroom, and she told me to take off all my clothes. And yes, you can imagine what happened there. But in any case, I'm not going to go into too much details, but yes, use your imagination. And I feel I'm getting a little emotional here, so I'm just going to stop here for now, and then I'll continue with the next episode at another time. Thanks so much for listening, and have a wonderful day. Bye. Thank you for listening to my story. If you're going through something similar, know that you are not alone and there is help available. Please reach out to support groups, hotlines, or trusted individuals. Or you can do what I did. You can record a podcast and talk about it. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving a rating and a review. Your feedback helps me reach more listeners. Stay tuned for my next episode, where I'll continue to explore the journey of healing and resilience. Until next time, remember that sharing your story is a powerful step towards healing.